Johnson. Last week, we went over the AFC West and AFC North. This week, we are going to get into the AFC East and AFC South. So if you missed last week's episode, when you're done here, go check that one out, because there's a lot of good stuff. But on to this week, AFC East. So that is the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. Let's kick it off with the Bills, Tyler.
Yeah, they got a new OC, Joe Brady. And Stephon Diggs is gone.
Talk about him soon.
What's that?
We'll talk about him soon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very weird, the Bills. Like this, they felt pretty close to their kind of Super Bowl window. And especially with, the turnaround that Josh has had. But I don't know. It's a very interesting season for them because they look so different. And, I mean, they still, he's going to still have Khalil Shakir and the rookie Keon Coleman, who was their first pick of the second round. First overall pick of the second round. He's the golf nerd guy, the Tiger Woods rookie guy. But, yeah, I don't know. I expect, Dalton Kincaid to get a lot of targets. Probably favorite target for Josh Allen. But, yeah, this will be a very interesting season for the Bills.
It almost feels like a make or break season for the Bills, and I feel like we might have said that last year, but there was like a lot of cracks within the locker room with, Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, like that whole situation. Obviously, that's over because Stephon Diggs is not there anymore. And then you had the weird 9/11 speech from
Oh wow
from Sean McDermott that came out, and it kind of looked like early in the season last year, like, oh, the Bills are done. Then second half of the season picked it up and ended up basically stealing the division from a Dolphins team that just kind of pissed it away. But
right.
I think the Bills are interesting. I think Josh Allen is a good quarterback. I think he's actually overrated. I think everybody wants him to be Patrick Mahomes, and he's not. Obviously, I'm preaching to the choir here, but for the Bills, they had their opportunity in the playoffs last year of, okay, now the Chiefs are coming to our house. Lost. I am curious to see what the Bills' identity is this year.
Right.
Because clearly it's, that's all well and good. You beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Good job. We'll get you a ribbon for that. But, I think this is a playoff team. Just putting that out there. Just, I think they have a good enough coaching staff. I think Josh Allen is good enough to get you there as well. But a lot of new faces. And I'm with you. I think Kincaid will be kind of the favorite target until you get Keon Coleman comfortable. I think he'll be a good addition to the team. I think Khalil Shakir will be a bigger piece of the offense. But I'm really feeling unsure about the Bills.
Yeah, especially with a new OC, that always is not, it's not like a positive thing. It's, it could be a good change, especially with how much different their team is going to look just without Stephon there. Although when the Chiefs play him, they shut him down, both times. And again, I've seen Stephon take control of games, and I've seen him be completely invisible in other games, especially with the Bills. So, yeah, it's interesting for them to get rid of a guy that good. But I think it was kind of time with all the kind of off-season antics. But yeah, very, very interesting season for the Bills.
And let's go to really, I think, their biggest competitor, the Dolphins. Dolphins again, like really had a chance to win the AFC East last season, and I thought that they were going to. They had a chance literally last week of the season. It was Dolphins Bills, and the mission was simple: win the football game and you win the division, and they just weren't able to do that. So I think this is a big prove it year for Tua. I think this is a prove it year or a big. I don't know if prove it year is the right saying, but for Mike McDaniel and Tua, it's like, all right, guys, you've made the playoffs a couple times. Hasn't, nothing's came to fruition from making that. Now let's maybe win the division and let's win a playoff game, or let's make a playoff run. Let's do something here. I think now's the time, because the Dolphins haven't paid Tua. So
that's coming.
Do you think before the season starts?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard a whole lot of news on that one.
I've heard news about
other guys.
Yeah, I've heard news about Jordan Love from Green Bay, but
yes,
I haven't heard anything about Tua. I almost wonder if they're going to see how this year plays out and go from there.
Right. No, that's a really good point, though, because their last season, that was their big kind of misstep, is like inconsistency, and you're thinking you got the head coach, who we literally called a genius last year. In this episode last season, we both were like, he's kind of a crazy genius guy, and we like him a lot. He's a really funny guy and clearly a really good, football mind. But yeah, that was a big part of the season last season, where the big part of last season where they would drop 70 on the Broncos and then, just struggle with, random teams. Not a lot of consistency with, a good QB and a good coach. I think they probably will only get better, especially with Mike, what's his last name? Coach
Mike McDaniel. Yeah.
McDaniel, yeah. Yeah, especially with his mind. I think both offense and defense can only get better. And excuse me. I think that's one thing they have going for them. They're not the deepest roster. I think that's the Niners. But man, these guys, they have a very deep bench and just playmakers everywhere. On both sides of the ball. They're just so good. And honestly, they probably did they definitely did by losing, to the Bills. They really didn't do what they should have. But yeah, picking up Odell Beckham, don't really care. He's already on the pup list, I think, to begin training camp. He's getting old, I guess. So I don't really see much of a difference there. But I think, they need to start winning now.
Speaking of winning now.
Okay, where are you going with this?
Let's move on to the Jets.
Okay, fair enough.
The hype is not there for the Jets like it was prior to last season. Obviously, last season, Aaron Rodgers comes out of the tunnel with the American flag on 9/11, and then 4 plays into the game, tears his Achilles, and the Jets' dreams are over. Aaron Rodgers is back.
Maybe
he's there, and I don't know. I don't really care about the Jets. I don't care. I'm over it.
I hear you, man. And it's mostly their best player's fault, because he's he's a very exhausting person. A very exhausting quarterback to just be in the NFL, let alone be on your team. If you're a Jets fan, you're like, give me a break with this guy already. Because last year his whole motto was cut the BS. or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he's all of it, like
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Well, there's the
He's
door.
the drama.
Like.
Yeah, he said like get rid of the drama, and it's like, bro,
Yeah.
you're the biggest drama queen in the NFL right now.
And I think, like, Robert Salah is not a good football coach. I don't know. Like, even going back, I think it was 2 seasons ago with Zach Wilson, it was like snip, snap of who's the starting quarterback. And then they made the decision to keep Zach Wilson last season.
Yes.
Zach Wilson should not have been on the Jets last season. Now, obviously, he ended up getting a fair amount of playing time because of what happened to Rodgers, but I think a egotistical, self-centered quarterback that really, 6 months ago we were like, Aaron Rodgers is going to be RFK's running mate. Like,
oh yeah,
like how serious is he at 40 years old about football anyway?
Right.
So
it's funny you say that because I turned 40 years old in June, and I'm like, whoa, that's the same age as little Aaron Rodgers here. It's like, okay, that is a weird. I didn't honestly think about that until today when I was looking at the Jets roster, and I'm like, man, this guy. I don't know. Coming off an Achilles, that's asking a lot of a 40-year-old man. He is Aaron Rodgers. He can, if he can play, like 60 or 70% of like without hobbling around. If he's on his feet and he just has half of the magic that he used to, with that defense, that's the point where I'm trying to get to is like this defense is next level. They got a QB who can be a little bit, even half of Aaron Rodgers. That's you're probably making a wild card at worst. And they did pick up Mike Williams, but Mike Williams is good, but he's always hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about Aaron Rodgers is and this is without looking statistically probably one of the 5 best quarterbacks ever. Right. So if you're getting 75% of that, right, you're going to be in good shape. If you're the Jets now, maybe that means that they go 9-8 or 8-9. I don't think that they have that many wins in them. I think they're a 6 or 7 win football team.
Oh wow!
But that's me.
Okay. That's not crazy, especially with all the drama. He's just so prone to it. I'm not saying he's injury prone. I'm not going there, but who the heck knows with this guy? He's all over the place. He's kind of a diva. I don't know. I think that will affect the team in the locker room, especially with Robert Saleh. I really liked Saleh, and I thought, he was going to be kind of a Jets savior and pull them out of, the terrible, franchise that they've been. But yeah, I don't trust him either. I think the Zach Wilson thing was a lot of ownership. Like, hey, we drafted this guy. Don't get him rid of the, don't keep him on the team.
Well, yeah, it was a lot of, we missed on Sam Darnold. We can't miss on Zach Wilson. So I think there was a lot of that. We had 2 first round and we can talk about that with the Bears too. Like we'll get to that soon, but next week. But the Patriots, moving on to the Patriots. That was kind of an abrupt shift.
Sure.
But this is Gerard Mayo, new head coach of the Patriots. This is the first season. This is the post Bill Belichick era. I don't think it's fair to have high expectations of the Patriots. I think, rookie head coach, young head coach. Let's see what he can build. Don't really think he has a lot of weapons to work with right now. Bailey Zappi is, I think, QB1. They drafted Drake May. I forgot that they got Jacoby Brissett. So, he'll be able to help be that veteran leadership there. But offensively, Juju Smith-Schuster, who, he's fine. But I don't think much of the Patriots. That's not because I don't like them. It's just, it's all new there, new regime, new everything. Right. So it's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and without Bill Belichick, what's the defense going to look like? I think a lot of the same guys are there, but without him making the defense what it is, I don't think the Patriots are going to be very successful. Ramondre Stevens, really good RB, but yeah, there's not a whole lot to look at on their team in this rebuild with a brand new head coach. Drake May's probably going to be learning behind, I would think, Jacoby Brissett's probably starting, but yeah.
I think that makes sense. Jacoby Brissett. I literally, when I was going through their quarterbacks, I forgot that he was there.
Right.
I think if you're a new coach, if you're a new head coach, I would not want to go with a rookie in Drake May, and I would not want to go with Bailey Zappi, who is just there. Then that you can at least have a serviceable quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. So I think that would make sense if he's starter week 1. But
right.
I think we might have, maybe not. Like let's pick the division winners. So I think we might have different picks. So I'm curious what you think.
This is tough. But I think the Dolphins take the next step into greatness and they win the division. Bills take a step back, get a wild card. What, do we have the exact same?
Yeah. So
I mean, after the last season, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not talk about that, by the way. So that's funny.
No.
But yeah, I will just echo everything you said.
Okay.
I think the Dolphins are going to win the division. I think they're going to take a step forward and use last year's motivation of like, we're not going to do that again. I do think the Bills are going to have an identity issue this year and take a step back and still be a playoff team, like you said.
Right. And last year we picked the Bills to win the East, which we were right. We got the Dolphins winning a wild card, which we were also right. We also had the Jets winning a wild card, which everyone was wrong on. So yeah, we're okay there.
Again, it's tough. It's tough with injuries, especially to quarterbacks, because that changes everything. So
yeah, everybody thought Rodgers would be all they needed, which that is what they needed.
Their assessment, yeah.
They did not need an Achilles injury on play number 4.
Yep.
With that defense. So I think, yeah, it's probably the same. Let's say the Jets also get a wild card. 2 years in a row.
I'm not saying that, but
I'm going there.
All right. I'm not saying that. I can't go there with the Jets.
Okay.
I think this is Aaron Rodgers' last ride. They're gonna stink.
Oh wow.
And he's gonna be like, all right, I'm done. So
those are the two outcomes. There's no in between.
Yeah. All right, AFC South time. And Houston Texans, we'll start with them because I think they were kind of the surprise team last year. They had CJ Stroud, who was great as a rookie. They had D'Amico Ryans, new head coach, also fantastic. Won a playoff game. Won the division. They won the division, yeah?
Yes.
I think this is a team that's going to take a massive step forward, that's already really good, and can be a team that can give the Chiefs a run for their money, but will end up falling short in the end.
I think with is young. I think that's a fair. With as good as the Chiefs have been and what they've done on the road to go win the Super Bowl, I think the Chiefs overall, coaching and players, I think that's a fair thing to say.
Yeah. And they added Stephon Diggs. Obviously, left the Bills, got traded to the Texans, and is going to be a massive weapon for CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
They have Nico Collins, who I believe they extended. Maybe not.
I don't know. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Tank Dell, who got injured last season, and then they added Joe Mixon. I think the Texans are going to be incredibly fun to watch.
Yeah.
For a team that, obviously had Deshaun Watson, who was great in Houston. And then everything that happened there, team was terrible. And then you turn around and you're able to get not only a great head coach, but you're able to hit on CJ Stroud, because it was, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, who's going to be the better pick. So far, it's CJ Stroud.
Right.
But I really like the Texans. I think they're going to be a team to pay attention to.
Yeah, they were so much fun to watch last year. Just seeing CJ Stroud blossom into this phenom of his first year in the league, and he's just already figured it out, which is very rare. But that's like, okay, well, this not only is this fun to watch now, but man, this is like, how long can he keep this up? And he's just so natural. It's probably gonna be for his whole career. And his team is stacked. He already listed those receivers. Got Dalton Schultz to as a tight end as well. And last year, our main thing was like, here. Last year we put the Texans and the Colts together.
Yeah,
You were like, let's just talk about these two teams because they're not going to be good. And now here we are, like they won the division, and we expect them to be going head to head with the Chiefs. That's a huge turnaround.
Yeah, and we can just jump into the Colts. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
they ended up being pretty fun too. Now they had Anthony Richardson, who ended up getting hurt, and they had Gardner Minshew, who stepped in. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on the Colts, because obviously, go ahead.
No, I think Anthony Richardson has to carry this team. Obviously, not getting hurt. Oh, that's where Joe Flacco went. So he's the backup. Yeah. That can only help.
And I think
having a veteran teach you.
Yeah. I think Michael Pittman Jr. is a good target for him.
Right. And Donnie Mitchell's really good too.
Yeah. But they're not the Texans.
My question, no, for sure. But how is Jonathan Taylor still on this team after all that drama last year? Remember all that? Like he was wanting.
Did he sign an extension too?
He did.
Yeah, that was weird.
All this. It's such a weird. That's why when I was looking over the AFC. Yeah, I looked at the Colts and I'm like, how on earth? I forgot that he re-signed. But there was all that drama about he was wanting to get a trade. Nobody wanted him. We're just going to pay him. And he wasn't happy there and all that. I'm like, he's still on that team. How's that possible? But yeah, I don't expect a whole lot from the Colts. Obviously, Anthony Richardson stays on the field. They're going to be a heck of a lot better. But with that division, or with the Texans, I should say, and we'll get to the Titans, and obviously the Jags. Yeah, the rest of the division's actually pretty good.
Yeah, let's hit the Titans and we can end on the Jaguars, because I have the Jaguars are going to be weird, but Titans. Is this Will Levis's team now? So they have they signed Calvin Ridley. They have DeAndre Hopkins still. I feel like they have Tyler Boyd.
Yep. I didn't know that. Until
And
today, I looked it up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Tony Pollard is their running back. Is one of
dude.
their running backs, rather.
Yep.
And then like they have Malik Willis, Mason Rudolph, Will Levis.
So their new head coach is Brian Callahan, the Bengals OC. That's a big reason why they got Tyler Boyd. So that can only be a positive. But yeah, looking at their team today, I was like, okay, the Titans are actually they look really good on paper.
The weapons are there.
Yeah.
The weapons are there for them to be a decent team. And then defensively, like obviously they added L'Jarius Sneed, who can only help you. So
right. Crazy.
I actually I have hope. I have faith that the Titans are going to be decent. I thought getting rid of Mike Vrabel was a little bit weird, a little bit of a weird decision, but I think bringing in, like you said, Bengals OC as head coach, obviously, like we've seen what the Bengals have been able to accomplish offensively. So you bring in just a fresh set of ideas. I think you have the potential, if you're the Titans, to surprise everybody this year.
I think so. I was shocked, and I'm actually very excited to see what they can do, especially in a much tougher division now.
Yeah. So we can close it out with the Jaguars. Honestly, disappointing team, in my opinion. Earlier this summer, we got into depth of Trevor Lawrence and the extension that he signed, and kind of looked at his career and like, this guy was supposed to be like the second coming of Peyton Manning, and he's just really not done that. So I think for me, this is an important season for Jacksonville because, like, obviously Trevor Lawrence got paid, so it's not like make or break for him. Like, but I think you have to, especially now that they've fully invested in Trevor Lawrence as QB, they have to take a step forward and be the team that everybody thinks that they are supposed to be. And a lot of that's going to ride on Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially Doug. He's always liked him. But yeah, he's going to be looking for a job if they're not, much better or on the way to. I mean, they have to start winning this division, first of all. But, they drafted Brian Thomas Jr., a wide receiver out of LSU. So, I mean, they're obviously trying to get, some weapons for him. But yeah, I basically looked at them and said they really haven't changed other than their draft picks. They're basically the same team, and they're still... What's up?
They brought in the legend Mac Jones to be backup QB.
Oh, yeah. I forgot they had him. And CJ Beathard.
But yeah, they got Gabe Davis though. Like,
yeah,
I like Gabe Davis,
okay,
but that's basically replacing Calvin Ridley. It's not like it's in addition to. So it's all right. We have Christian Kirk. We lost Calvin Ridley, so we're gonna get Gabe Davis. And I'm just, for a team that I think they won 8 straight games 2 seasons ago, beat the Titans in the final game of the season to win that division. Obviously lost to the Chiefs in they had the 28-point comeback against the Chargers in the playoffs, where I think Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks in the first half. So, then you make that comeback, and then you go play the Chiefs. Not high expectations if you're playing the Chiefs, especially your first run. And then it was okay. Last year got off to a great start, and then the wheels just kind of fell off. So I think, look at everything you did wrong last season and go, okay, don't do that. Which I know is obviously that's everybody's hope is hey, remember those things that we didn't do well last season? Well, let's be better there. Obviously, duh. But I think it is simple for the Jaguars to be good again.
No, I totally agree. When I looked at this team, I'm it's the same story as ever since Trevor Lawrence started there. It's just the same story. They have to just be better because they're better than the sum of their parts, I guess. They should have better records and better outcomes with the talent they have, and they've just kind of underperformed and came up short. They're a big team that needs to take the next step. Or you're definitely, especially after signing Lawrence, its head coach is going to be getting changed. So,
this is an interesting division, but I like the Texans. I think that was obvious the way that we were talking about them. I like the Texans. I think really you could probably make a case for all 4 of these teams finding a way into the playoffs. I think Texans are obviously a lock to win the South, and then Jaguars I think should be a wild card team, and maybe they even compete for the division. Maybe they are just really good, but I think the Titans can surprise us. The team that I'm kind of about is the Colts, but
I
like the Texans.
Yeah, this division's got better overnight, basically, and I'll go with Texans as well. We picked the Jags last year, and that they didn't even make the wild card. So, Jags need to take the next step there and compete. If not, get that wild card. Titans could surprise us. And maybe be a playoff, be a wild card team out of nowhere. On paper, I would not be shocked at this point, in during hope season here. So,
So to recap, just from last week and this week, because we've now gone through all 4 AFC divisions. AFC West, we both picked the Chiefs. AFC North, we both picked the Ravens. AFC East, I thought we were going to be on different pages there, but both like the Dolphins, and then AFC South, Texans. And I think, we can talk wild card possibilities, but I think the AFC West probably has 1 playoff team in the Chiefs. AFC North probably has 2. Maybe 3.
That's what it was last year.
Yeah. East has 2, lock it in.
Right.
Which I think that leaves 2 more spots, if I'm doing my math right.
1 more, maybe?
Yeah. Obviously with Houston. I don't know. Flip a coin. Jacksonville, Tennessee.
Right.
It should be Jacksonville, though. That's the AFC. Again, last week we did AFC West, AFC North. If you missed that, go check it out. Next week we will start the NFC divisional preview. We'll go through the NFC West and NFC North, and then that final week of August we will do the NFC East and NFC South, and then that will put us right on schedule to preview week 1, because that's gonna I believe Chiefs and Ravens play on September 6th or 5th, whatever that Thursday is. And now I'm second guessing myself entirely, but
September 5th, yeah.
Yeah, September 5th. So
Yep.
then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled episodes.
Awesome.
So we'll see you next week for the NFC. Thanks for listening.